The stars looked different from the observation deck of the International Space Station. Dr. Taiwan Kim had spent 20 years studying the night sky, but tonight something felt wrong. The signal they had picked up 3 months ago was unlike anything humans had ever detected before. "Dr. Kim, you should see this." Hae-Nul Lee, his young assistant, handed him a tablet displaying a new set of data. Hae-Nul's face was pale, her dark eyes wide with worry. Taiwan took the tablet, his hands trembling slightly. The signal was getting stronger. Whatever was out there was getting closer. "Have you told the others?" he asked. Hae-Nul nodded. "Ambassador Park is preparing the welcome message now. The president wants everything ready for first contact within 48 hours. Taiwan frowned. It was too fast. Humans had dreamed of meeting aliens for centuries, but something about this signal made his skin crawl. Still, his job was to collect data, not make policy decisions. "Let's hope they come in peace," he said, though the words felt hollow in his mouth. 2 days later, Ambassador Jun Park stood on the deck of the UNS Harmony *, Earth's newest and largest spaceship. Next to him, Hae-Nul adjusted the translation software one last time. "Do you think they'll understand us?" Jun asked, straightening his formal suit for the 10th time. "The math language we sent should give them the basics," Hae-Nul replied. "After that, the AI translation system will learn their language patterns quickly." The ship's captain, a stern woman named Captain Sun, approached them. "They've responded to our hail. Their ship will dock with ours in 5 minutes. Jun took a deep breath. This is it, the most important moment in human history. Hae-Nul felt a chill run down her spine. She wished Dr. Kim were here instead of watching from the space station. Something about this felt wrong. The docking procedure went smoothly. Too smoothly, Hae-Nul thought. It was as if the aliens had studied human technology in advance. When the airlock opened, 6 tall figures stepped through. They called themselves the Vekra. Their skin was pale blue, and they had 4 arms each. Their eyes were large and completely black. They wore what looked like living armor. It pulsed and shifted as they moved. Ambassador Jun stepped forward with a smile. "On behalf of humanity, welcome to our solar system. We hope this meeting marks the beginning of friendship between our peoples." The lead Vekra tilted its head. When it spoke, the translation came through clearly. "We have studied your species for some time," it said. "You are interesting, genetically primitive, but adaptable." Jun's smile faltered. "We have much to learn from each other." The Vekra leader made a sound like grinding metal. The translation system identified it as laughter. "No," it said, "you misunderstand. We are not here to exchange knowledge. We are here to take your worlds." Before anyone could react, the Vekra's armor shifted. Sharp, bone-like spikes burst from their bodies. The nearest human diplomats fell, bleeding and screaming. Hae-Nul ducked behind a console. Captain Sun reached for her weapon, but a spike pierced her throat before she could fire. The lead Vekra grabbed Ambassador Jun by the neck. "Watch closely," it said, looking directly at the ship's cameras. "This message is for all humans." Hae-Nul watched in horror as the Vekra tore Jun apart. Blood sprayed across the white walls of the docking bay. The aliens methodically killed everyone in sight. Through her shock, Hae-Nul noticed that the ship's emergency escape pod was just meters away. While the Vekra were distracted with their slaughter, she crawled toward it, slipping in blood. As the pod's door closed, Hae-Nul saw the lead Vekra staring directly at her. It smiled, a terrible imitation of a human expression, and let her go. The escape pod launched. Through the small window, Hae-Nul watched the Harmony grow smaller. Then suddenly, the ship exploded in a ball of blue fire. Hae-Nul was alone, the sole survivor of humanity's first contact, carrying a message of war back to Earth. Dr. Kim's words echoed in her mind. "Let's hope they come in peace." They hadn't, and now humanity would have to fight. 6 months had passed since the massacre on the UNS Harmony *. Earth had changed. Cities now had shields over them. People looked up at the sky with fear instead of wonder. Everyone was preparing for war. Hanu Lee sat in a dark meeting room at the Global Space Defense Initiative headquarters. The nightmares still came every night. The sight of Ambassador June being torn apart, the sound of human screams, the cold smile of the Vecra leader. She barely slept anymore. General Yoon slammed his fist on the table. We're out of time. The Vecra ships have passed Neptune's orbit. On the large screen, red dots showed the alien fleet moving toward Earth. There were hundreds of them. What about our defense fleet? Asked Dr. Tae-won Kim. He looked older now, his hair grayer than it had been 6 months ago. We have 80 ships at Mars Defense Station, said General Yoon. Colonel Sung-ho Choi is in command, but they won't be enough. Hanul stared at the screen. You don't understand what we're facing. They're weapons. They're alive somehow. No one had believed her at first when she described the Vecra's living armor. But now, they knew she was right. The meeting room door burst open. A young officer ran in, her face white with shock. They've engaged our Mars fleet, she said. Colonel Choi is sending footage. The screen changed to show the battle near Mars. Earth ships fired their weapons, but they barely damaged the Vecra vessels. Then the aliens released their war beasts. The room fell silent as they watched. The war beasts were massive creatures, each one different from the others. Some looked like giant insects with metal parts. Others resembled sea creatures but could move through the vacuum of space. All of them attacked with terrible purpose. What are those things? Someone whispered. Bioengineered weapons, Dr. Kim answered. The Vecra don't build machines like we do. They grow them. On screen, Colonel Sung-ho's voice came through clearly despite the chaos around him. They're breaking through our lines. We can't stop them. They watched as one Earth ship after another exploded or went dark. The war beasts tore through metal hulls like paper. Colonel Sung-ho's face appeared on screen. His forehead was bleeding, and smoke filled the bridge behind him. We've lost 60% of our fleet, he reported, but we've learned something important. These creatures, they have weaknesses. They're biological, not mechanical. They can be killed. A massive explosion rocked his ship. The image shook violently. I'm staying behind with the remaining ships, Sung-ho said. We'll hold them as long as we can. Use the time to find a way to fight these things. The connection cut off. The room was silent again. General Yoon looked at Dr. Kim. How do we fight living weapons? Dr. Kim's face was grim. With our own living weapons. Hanul looked at him in surprise. What do you mean? Follow me, Dr. Kim said, standing up. There's something I need to show you all. They took an elevator deep underneath the building. Hanul had never been to this level before. When the doors opened, they entered a vast laboratory. Inside were tanks filled with strange liquids. Scientists in white coats moved between them, checking data on tablets. This is Project Chimera, Dr. Kim said. For 15 years, I've been studying ways to enhance human abilities. I never thought we'd need to use it. He led them to a large glass wall. Behind it was a training room. Inside, a man was lifting a weight that had to be at least 500 kilograms. His muscles didn't look much bigger than normal, but there was something different about him. His eyes reflected light like an animal's. He volunteered 2 months ago, Dr. Kim explained. We've enhanced him with genes from Earth's top predators. Hanul stepped closer to the glass. Is he still human? Dr. Kim looked troubled. His body isn't entirely human anymore. But his mind is. For now, that's the difference between our monsters and theirs. Hanul thought about the Vecra and their war beasts. She thought about Earth's defenses falling one by one. She thought about Ambassador June and everyone who had died. I want to volunteer, she said. All eyes turned to her. Are you sure? Dr. Kim asked. The process is painful and irreversible. Hanul nodded. To fight monsters, we need monsters, But ours will remember what we're fighting for, pain. That was all Newell knew for days. Her bones broke and reformed. Her muscles tore and grew back stronger. Her senses sharpened until the smallest sounds hurt her ears and normal lights blinded her. Her body is accepting the wolf DNA better than we hoped, Dr. Kim said to someone. Newell could hear him even though he was speaking in another room. Her new ears were that good. But at what cost? The second voice belonged to Dr. Jae-Yum Kang, the project's chief medical officer. We're turning humans into monsters, Ta-1. We're saving humanity, Dr. Kim replied. The Vecra have reached Earth orbit. Their war beasts are landing in Australia and South America. We're out of time. Newell opened her eyes. The room was too bright at first, but her vision adjusted quickly. She could see dust particles floating in the air. She could smell the coffee Dr. Kim had drunk hours ago. She sat up and looked at her hands. They still looked human, but the nails were thicker, almost like claws. She felt stronger, much stronger. The door opened, and Dr. Kim entered with Dr. Kang. Both looked tired. How do you feel? Dr. Kim asked. Different, Newell said. Her voice sounded the same to her, and that was comforting. But still myself. Dr. Kang checked Newell's vital signs. Your transformation was successful. Your strength, speed, and senses are enhanced. Your bones are 3 times stronger than normal. You can heal injuries much faster now. What about the others? Newell asked. 19 others survived the process, Dr. Kim said. 5 did not. Newell felt a chill. People had died becoming like her. Was it worth it? She asked. That's what we need to find out, Dr. Kim replied. Can you walk? Newell stood up. Her balance was perfect. She felt like she could run faster than ever before. I want to see the others, she said. They took her to a large training room. Inside were the other Chimras. Some looked more changed than she did. One man had scales instead of skin. A woman's eyes were yellow with vertical pupils like a cat's. A young man approached her. His hair had turned white, and his eyes were golden. He moved with impossible grace. I'm Hyunwoo, he said. They call me Delta now. You're Omega, right? Omega. Newell asked, looking at Dr. Kim. Code names, he explained. For your protection. A woman with tiger-like features was lifting weights in the corner. A man with reptilian skin was running on a treadmill faster than any normal human could. We all volunteered for different reasons, Hyunwoo said. I lost my family when the Vecra bombed Seoul. Newell nodded. I was there when they first attacked. I saw what they did. The door opened, and General Yoon entered with several military officers. They looked at the Chimeras with a mixture of hope and fear. The first team needs to be ready for deployment in 12 hours, General Yoon announced. The Vecra have established a base on Luna. We need to take it out before they can launch attacks from there. Dr. Kang stepped forward. They still need time to adjust. Their minds need to sync with their new bodies. We don't have time, General Yoon said firmly. Either we send them now, or we lose the moon. Dr. Kim turned to the Chimeras. It has to be your choice. We won't force anyone to fight before they're ready. Newell looked around at the others. Some looked afraid, others determined. She thought about all the people who had died on the Harmony *. She thought about Colonel Sung-ho and the Mars fleet. I'll go, she said. Me too, Hyunwoo added. One by one, the others volunteered. Dr. Kang looked worried. Remember who you are, she told them. Your bodies have changed, but your minds are still human. In combat, you'll feel new instincts, primal urges. Don't lose yourselves to them. Newell nodded, but she wondered if it would be that easy. She could feel something new inside her, something wild and hungry, something that wanted to hunt. As they prepared for the mission, Newell caught her reflection in a window. Her eyes glowed slightly in the dim light. She didn't just look like a predator. She was one now. We'll remember, she promised Dr. Kang. We'll stay human where it counts. But as they boarded the transport ship to Luna, she wasn't entirely sure that was true. The lunar surface was silent and gray. Haenul, now Omega, moved across it with her team. Their special suits let them breathe in space, but were light enough to allow their enhanced bodies to move freely. In the low gravity, they could jump incredible distances. Through her helmet, Omega could see the Vecra base in the distance. It looked like a cluster of giant bubbles made of some strange, blue-green material. Moving shapes patrolled around it, war beasts adapted for the lunar environment. Command, this is Omega. We can see the target, she said into her comm. Proceed with caution, came General Yoon's voice from Earth. Satellite images show at least 30 war beasts outside and an unknown number inside. Delta, formerly Hyunwoo, moved up beside her. I can smell them even through my helmet, he whispered. They smell wrong. Omega nodded. Her enhanced senses told her the same thing. The war beasts gave off a scent that wasn't natural. It was as if they had been put together from parts rather than born. Team 1 will create a diversion on the south side, Omega said. Team 2 will breach the east wall. Remember, we need to destroy their communication array. The 10 chimeras split into 2 groups. Omega led Team 2, while a chimera with bare DNA named Gamma led Team 1. The plan worked at first. Team 1 attacked the south entrance, drawing most of the war beasts to them. Omega's team reached the east wall without being spotted. Up close, the wall looked alive. It pulsed slightly, like a giant lung. Cut here, Omega ordered, pointing to a spot where the wall seemed thinner. A chimera named Epsilon unsheathed claws from his fingertips and sliced into the wall. The material blowed a blue liquid and made a high-pitched sound. It's alive, Delta said. The whole base is a living thing. Before they could process this, the wall opened like a mouth. Inside was a war beast unlike any they had seen before. It had 6 legs ending in sharp blades. Its body was covered in armored plates. Its head had no eyes, just a set of whipping tentacles with glowing tips. It attacked. Omega moved faster than she ever had before. She dodged the bladed legs and grabbed one of the tentacles. With her new strength, she tore it off. The beast shrieked, spraying blue blood. Delta leaped onto its back, digging his claws into the gaps between armor plates. The other chimeras joined the fight, their enhanced bodies moving in perfect coordination. But as Omega fought, something changed inside her. A red haze filled her vision. Her thoughts became simpler. Hunt, kill, survive. The wolf DNA in her was taking over. She tore into the war beast with a ferocity that surprised even her. She wasn't fighting like a soldier anymore. She was fighting like a predator. More war beasts came. The chimeras fought them off, one by one. Their human training combined with animal instincts made them deadly opponents. For the first time, the Vecra war beasts were being defeated. Omega lost track of time. She moved from one enemy to the next, killing without thought. The taste of blood, even alien blood, excited her. She wanted more. She found herself standing over a smaller war beast. It was injured, unable to fight back. The human part of her knew it was no longer a threat. But the wolf wanted to finish it. Omega, stop. Delta's voice cut through the haze. He grabbed her arm. We're here to complete the mission, not slaughter everything we see. Remember. Omega blinked. The red haze faded. She looked down at her hands, covered in blue alien blood. I almost lost myself, she whispered. We all feel it, Delta said. But we have to stay human. That's what makes us different from them. Omega nodded and took a deep breath. The communication array. Let's finish this. They found the array at the center of the base. It was a tall structure made of the same living material as the walls. They planted explosives around its base. As they escaped the base, the explosives detonated. The array collapsed, cutting off the Vecra's communications with their main fleet. Back on their transport ship, Omega looked at her team. 3 chimeras had died in the battle. The survivors were injured but healing quickly thanks to their enhanced bodies. "We won," Delta said. "First humans to beat the Vecra in a direct fight." "But at what cost?" Omega asked, thinking of how close she had come to losing her humanity. The ship headed back to Earth, carrying news of their victory. But Omega knew this was just the beginning. The real battle would be keeping their humanity while fighting monsters. 1 year had passed since the first chimeras deployed to Luna. Earth was still standing, but the war had left deep scars. Major cities like Rio de Janeiro and Sydney lay in ruins. Billions of people had moved underground to escape Vecra attacks. Omega stood in front of a large viewing window at GSDI headquarters. She had changed in the past year. Her body was leaner and stronger. A scar ran down the left side of her face, a reminder of a close fight with a Vecra commander. Her eyes had a permanent yellow glow now. "They want to see you in Lab 12, said Delta, walking up beside her. He too had changed. His white hair had grown longer, and his movements were even more cat-like than before. "Is it about the new batch?" Omega asked. Delta nodded. "Dr. Kim is ready to show them." They walked through the underground complex to Lab 12. Inside, Dr. Kim was waiting with Dr. Kang and General Yoon. Behind them, in large tanks, floated shapes that were only partly human. "The second generation," Dr. Kim said proudly, "enhanced with even more animal DNA than your group." Omega stepped closer to one tank. Inside was a creature that looked more like a giant wolf than a human. Only its eyes held any humanity. "What have you done?" she whispered. "We're winning the war thanks to the Chimera project," General Yoon said. "But the Vecra are adapting. Their new war beasts are designed specifically to counter your abilities. We need to stay ahead." "These aren't soldiers," Omega argued. "They're weapons. Can they even think like humans anymore?" Dr. Kang looked troubled. "Their minds are mostly intact, but their instincts will be much stronger than yours. It will be harder for them to maintain their humanity in battle." "That's a price we have to pay," Dr. Kim said firmly. "The Vecra don't hold back. Why should we?" Before Omega could answer, an alarm sounded. A voice came over the speakers. "All Chimera units to Hangar 3. Captured Vecra scientist is ready for questioning." In Hangar 3, a Vecra sat in a special containment cell. It was smaller than the warriors Omega had fought, with paler skin and only 2 arms instead of 4. Its black eyes watched them coldly. "This is their equivalent of a scientist," explained a human researcher. "It was captured during the raid on their Australian base." General Yoon stepped forward. "Ask it about the war beasts. How do they make them?" The translator converted his words into the clicking, grinding language of the Vecra. The alien responded. "It says the war beasts are not made, they are grown," the translator said. "They start with base genetic material and shape it to their needs." "Do the war beasts think?" Omega asked. "Are they conscious?" The Vecra made a sound like breaking glass. The translator hesitated. "It's laughing," the researcher explained. "It says war beasts are tools, not beings. They have no minds, only programmed responses. It says only primitives like humans would give weapons consciousness." Omega looked at Delta. The same thought was in both their minds. The Vecra war beasts were just biological machines. They felt no pain, no fear, no confusion. They weren't like the chimeras at all. Dr. Kang stepped forward. "Ask it why they attack us. What do they want?" The Vecra answered immediately. "It says humans are genetically interesting but culturally worthless," the translator said. "They want our planets and our DNA. They see us as resources." Dr. Kang turned to General Yoon and Dr. Kim. "Don't you see? This is why we can't become like them. Our humanity, our compassion, our ability to choose right from wrong. That's what makes us different. That's what we're fighting for." Omega thought of how close she had come to losing herself in battle many times. how the wolf inside her hungered for the kill. But unlike the war beasts, she could choose. She could remember mercy. Later that day, as the new generation of chimeras was being prepared for their first mission, Omega addressed them. "You're more beast than human now," she told them. "But remember why we fight. Not just to survive, but to remain worthy of survival." The Vecra turned their backs on what made them people. "We can't do the same." As she spoke, alarms began to sound again. On the monitors, they could see a massive Vecra fleet entering Earth orbit. The final battle was beginning. The Vecra command ship was massive. It hung in Earth orbit like a giant blue spider, its legs reaching out to smaller ships around it. Omega had never seen anything so big. "That's our target," she told her team. Their small stealth ship was flying toward the command ship, hidden by special technology designed to mask them from Vecra sensors. Delta checked his weapons. 6 of us against an entire command ship. I like those odds. Omega smiled despite the tension. "We don't need to defeat the ship. We just need to get in, find the information, and get out." Their mission was clear. Intelligence suggested the Vecra command ship held important information about their war strategy. It might also hold human prisoners taken during the Australia attack. The 6 chimeras on the team were all first generation, with enough animal DNA to be enhanced, but not so much that their humanity was at risk. Omega had refused to work with the second-generation chimeras. They were too unpredictable. Their ship attached to the underside of the Vecra vessel. Using special cutting tools, they made a hole in the living hull. It bled blue, just like the base on Luna had. "Remember," Omega said as they prepared to enter, "we move fast, we stay quiet, and we stick to the mission." The inside of the Vecra ship was warm and damp, like the inside of a mouth. The walls pulsed with slow rhythms. Lights that looked like glowing veins ran along the ceiling. They moved through curved tunnels, following the map their intelligence team had created. Twice they had to hide from passing Vecra soldiers. Once they had to kill a small war beast that detected them. Delta broke its neck quickly, before it could make a sound. Finally, they reached a large chamber filled with what looked like giant eggs. "What are these?" whispered one of the chimeras, a woman codenamed Ta. Omega approached one of the eggs. It was transparent enough to see inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. "There's a human in there," she said. "They have humans in these pods." Delta checked another pod. "This one too. And they have tubes connected to them, drawing blood." Ta checked a computer terminal nearby. According to this, they're harvesting genetic material. They're using humans to improve their war beasts. Omega felt rage building inside her. The wolf wanted to howl, to hunt, to kill. She fought to stay calm. "How many people are here?" she asked. "Hundreds," Ta replied. "Including..." Wait. She looked closer at the screen. "Colonel Sung-Ho Choi is here. He's alive." Omega couldn't believe it. Colonel Sung-Ho had been thought dead after the Mars battle more than a year ago. "Where?" she demanded. Ta pointed to a section of the map. "Special containment area. They're keeping high-value prisoners separate." Omega made a quick decision. Change of plans. "We're freeing the prisoners." "That wasn't the mission," one of the other chimeras objected. "I'm changing the mission," Omega said firmly. "We can't leave our people here." They found the special containment area heavily guarded by Vecra soldiers and war beasts. There was no way to approach quietly. "We go in hard and fast," Omega said. "Delta and I will take the front. The rest of you circle around and attack from behind." The fight was brutal but quick. The chimeras moved with incredible speed and strength. The Vecra, used to facing normal humans, were unprepared for such enhanced opponents. Inside the containment area, they found 20 human prisoners. Most were military officers or scientists, and there in a special cell was Colonel Sung-Ho Choi. He looked thinner and older, with new scars on his face. But he was alive. "Who? What are you?" he asked when Omega opened his cell. I'm Hainu Lee, she said. I was there when the Vecra first attacked. Now I'm something else. But I'm still human enough to remember our people. As they led the prisoners back to their entry point, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. They know we're here, Delta warned. Colonel Sung Ho, weak but determined, grabbed Omega's arm. Before we go, there's something you need to know. I've been watching them, learning. The Vecra have a primary facility where they create all their war beasts. If you could destroy it. Where? Omega asked. Europa, Sung Ho said. Jupiter's moon. That's where it all comes from. As they fought their way back to their ship with the rescued prisoners, Omega knew this information could change everything. For the first time since the war began, humanity had a chance to strike back where it would truly hurt. The Vecra command ship was massive. It hung in Earth orbit like a giant blue spider, its legs reaching out to smaller ships around it. Omega had never seen anything so big. That's our target, she told her team. Their small stealth ship was flying toward the command ship, hidden by special technology designed to mask them from Vecra sensors. Delta checked his weapons. 6 of us against an entire command ship. I like those odds. Omega smiled despite the tension. We don't need to defeat the ship. We just need to get in, find the information, and get out. Their mission was clear. Intelligence suggested the Vecra command ship held important information about their war strategy. It might also hold human prisoners taken during the Australia attack. The 6 chimeras on the team were all first generation, with enough animal DNA to be enhanced, but not so much that their humanity was at risk. Omega had refused to work with the second-generation chimeras. They were too unpredictable. Their ship attached to the underside of the Vecra vessel. Using special cutting tools, they made a hole in the living hull. It bled blue, just like the base on Luna had. Remember, Omega said as they prepared to enter, we move fast, we stay quiet, and we stick to the mission. The inside of the Vecra ship was warm and damp, like the inside of a mouth. The walls pulsed with slow rhythms. Lights that looked like glowing veins ran along the ceiling. They moved through curved tunnels, following the map their intelligence team had created. Twice they had to hide from passing Vecra soldiers. Once they had to kill a small war beast that detected them. Delta broke its neck quickly, before it could make a sound. Finally, they reached a large chamber filled with what looked like giant eggs. What are these? Whispered one of the chimeras, a woman codenamed Ta. Omega approached one of the eggs. It was transparent enough to see inside. What she saw made her blood run cold. There's a human in there, she said. They have humans in these pods. Delta checked another pod. This one too. And they have tubes connected to them, drawing blood. Ta checked a computer terminal nearby. According to this, they're harvesting genetic material. They're using humans to improve their war beasts. Omega felt rage building inside her. The wolf wanted to howl, to hunt, to kill. She fought to stay calm. How many people are here? She asked. Hundreds, Ta replied. Including, wait. She looked closer at the screen. Colonel Sung Ho Choi is here. He's alive. Omega couldn't believe it. Colonel Sung Ho had been thought dead after the Mars battle more than a year ago. Where? She demanded. Ta pointed to a section of the map. Special containment area. They're keeping high-value prisoners separate. Omega made a quick decision. Change of plans. We're freeing the prisoners. That wasn't the mission, one of the other chimeras objected. I'm changing the mission, Omega said firmly. We can't leave our people here. They found the special containment area heavily guarded by Vecra soldiers and war beasts. There was no way to approach quietly. We go in hard and fast, Omega said. Delta and I will take the front. The rest of you circle around and attack from behind. The fight was brutal but quick. The chimeras moved with incredible speed and strength. The Vecra, used to facing normal humans, were unprepared for such enhanced opponents. Inside the containment area, They found 20 human prisoners. Most were military officers or scientists. And there, in a special cell, was Colonel Sung-ho Choi. He looked thinner and older, with new scars on his face, but he was alive. "Who? What are you?" he asked when Omega opened his cell. "I'm Hae-Nul Lee," she said. "I was there when the Vecra first attacked. Now I'm something else, but I'm still human enough to remember our people." As they led the prisoners back to their entry point, alarms began to sound throughout the ship. "They know we're here," Delta warned. Colonel Sung-ho, weak but determined, grabbed Omega's arm. "Before we go, there's something you need to know. I've been watching them, learning. The Vecra have a primary facility where they create all their war beasts. If you could destroy it." "Where?" Omega asked. "Europa," Sung-ho said. "Jupiter's moon. That's where it all comes from." As they fought their way back to their ship with the rescued prisoners, Omega knew this information could change everything. For the first time since the war began, humanity had a chance to strike back where it would truly hurt. "No," Omega's voice was firm as she stood in Dr. Kim's lab. "These aren't soldiers. They're not even people anymore." In the tanks before her floated the third generation of chimeras. They barely looked human. One had skin like armor plating. Another had 4 arms. A third had no face at all, just sensory organs spread across its head. Dr. Kim frowned. "They're our best chance against the Vecra. The second generation is good, but these could end the war." "At what cost?" Omega demanded. "Look at them. How much of their minds will remain human?" Delta stood beside her, equally troubled. "Dr. Kim, we've been fighting for over a year now. We know what it's like to balance the animal and human parts inside us. These new ones, they won't stand a chance." General Yoon entered the lab with Colonel Sung-ho, who had recovered well since his rescue from the Vecra ship. "The